And welcome back, everyone, to the Optum Care Community Centers. It's Ben Brock again, and today I'm actually having a discussion with Rich Crislip all around goal setting. We'll talk about goal setting for emotional resiliency, goal setting for nutrition, and goal setting for exercise. So go ahead and sit back and enjoy. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Optum Care Community Centers. Today I have Rich Crislip with me, and we're going to actually talk together about goal setting. So we're going to go over some emotional resiliency goal setting, some nutrition goal setting, and some exercise goal setting. But before we go into each of those categories, I want to give kind of two overarching criterias for goals. And the overarching criteria number one is when you're setting a goal, really make it achievable. And so many times I find that when people are setting nutrition goals or exercise goals, and I'm sure Rich would agree with this, they try and do too much. So if you're trying to get rid of a certain food, you say, I will never eat that food again. Or if you're starting to try an exercise routine, you'll say, I'll exercise every day for 4, 5, 6 hours. So really try and make sure when you're setting any goal to make it achievable. Number two is to make it measurable. The other really big culprit I see is people saying, I'm going to try my best to eat better. Well, how can we measure that? How do we know if we're actually achieving that goal? Or I'm going to try and exercise a little bit more. How do we know if we've actually achieved that? So as we're talking today and as we're having dialogue about emotional resiliency goals, nutrition goals, and exercise goals, and as you're starting to formulate your own goals, really make sure, is it measurable and is it achievable? So with that, Rich, actually, would you mind starting us out? I think for me personally, I have a vested interest in this because something that I've always thought to myself of a goal that I would love to set is something to kind of help keep me calm and bring some stress down. So what's some good ways for goal setting for emotional resiliency?
Yeah, well, one of the best things that you can do is actually to calm yourself. We are all under stress all the time, and sometimes that stress can be pretty big, and sometimes it can be kind of small, but there's stressors that go on daily, and one of the best things that we can do is actually repair the damage that we do to our bodies, because what goes on in our minds impacts our bodies. And I always kind of compare it to kind of like a laptop, is that sometimes, or a computer, when things are getting built up and not working so good, what do? You turn it off, right? You turn it off and reboot. And doing deep breathing exercises and relaxation and meditation every day, making it intentional and putting it into your schedule is a great way just to build emotional resiliency.
So doing it every day and, going back to that, making it achievable, how long do you actually have to do this for to have it impactful for us?
It's actually very quick and easy. If you just incorporate deep breathing for 10 minutes every day, if you find some part of your day that you can carve out some time to be alone and quiet, and you can do deep breathing exercises. We've talked about this, that I call it the 5-5 rule. You breathe in for 5 seconds, you hold it for 5 seconds, and then you breathe out for 5 seconds. If you do that and really also just turn off your thoughts, find that quiet place to go and just, like a computer, just turn things off, focus on your breathing and relax. If you can do that just for 10 minutes a day, you'll have a huge impact on your overall health.
I love that. And that's both achievable, right? 10 minutes a day, and measurable, something, am I doing it every day or not? Now that's great, but I know even for me, sometimes I'll hit those peaks of high stress. So is there a way to add some goal setting in of things that I can do when I do have that high stress, maybe that's not in my typical daily breathing technique routine?
It's a great point, because we all do have those high points of stress. When things don't work out, or we get a surprise, or something comes around the corner, we can elevate our stress. So I always try to be intentional about, I'm going to put it in my game plan that when my levels of stress go up, I'm going to take that 1 minute break. I'm going to just halt for a minute. I'm going to do some deep breathing. I'm going to shut my mind off and get myself in a better frame of mind and a more relaxed state before I continue on in problem solving.
Awesome. So it sounds like two really easy goals that we could do at the same time or do apart from each other is that 10 minutes every day, and or just really tackle those high stress moments with, you said, a minute of deep breathing, right?
Exactly.
Another thing that I really love is how much both of our areas kind of intersect with each other. And we've talked about this before, about goal setting for nutrition. and how proper nutrition can also help with some of that emotional resiliency.
Yeah, well, food is fuel, right? So, when we are under stress and perhaps when we're dealing with a little bit more emotional stress, we can comfort ourselves with bad food. Everybody does that from time to time, but we do know that food is needed for brain health and body health and emotional wellness as well. Having a good diet is a huge part of a strengthened emotional resiliency.
So when you're setting those goals for nutrition, they can actually help with those emotional goals as well. So what I always say for nutrition goals is we really have two things that we generally try and tackle. One, we're either trying to add something in, so adding that fuel in like Rich was talking about. Now that could be water, that could be vegetables, that could be healthy proteins, healthy fiber. But once again, when you're trying to add those in, make sure that you're doing it in a measurable and achievable way. So for me, I always try and make sure that I get 5 glasses of water in every single day and then have a water bottle with me at all times. That's achievable and measurable. I try and eat vegetables with every single meal. Achievable and measurable. We also have those culprits, like Rich was saying, that we go to when we are under stress. And these are my high saturated fat foods, my high sugar foods, my comfort foods. Once again, if we're trying to remove those from our diet, we can do that in an achievable and measurable way. So if soda's your go-to, you could say, I'm never gonna drink soda again, which might not be achievable, or you could say, I'm only gonna have 1 soda a day, or 1 soda a week. Whatever is really achievable for you. And you can do that with any food substance that you'll find will really help you, not just nutritionally, but also mentally as well. The last thing I want to quickly talk about is exercise. And I think that this coexists both with nutrition and with mental well-being. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. Exercise is a key component to a lot of mindability and healthy minds behaviors, because the mind-body connection, when we are under stress and we activate what I call that, the fight or flight response, and we do that every day. How often does your heartbeat go up? How often do your muscles tighten up? How often is your blood flow changed because of feelings of stress or feelings of high emotion? Well, those are stress hormones going on in your body that you're releasing because of that sympathetic nervous system that goes off. And one stress hormone called cortisol, which we're glad we have and we need to activate us and to get us in that strengthened fight or flight response, is actually, as it lingers in our body, can become toxic to us. And if we don't get rid of it, and if we don't manage that cortisol, if we have too much in our bodies, because once we produce it, it just kind of sits there. And it really interferes with our overall organ functioning and our overall health. So the only way that you can naturally get rid of cortisol is through exercise.
And once again, exercise really plays that key component in all these parts. And so if you're goal setting for exercise, you can make it achievable. Do it just a little bit, maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Maybe pick one of the videos we have on this playlist and do it 3 times a week or 4 times a week. Really, whatever works for you. But then also make it measurable. So set that goal. Not that I'm gonna just walk more, but I'm gonna walk 10 minutes every day or 20 minutes every day. What I love about this, and what I love about doing this with Rich, is the combination of what all of these goals will affect each other. And so if I have an exercise goal, it's gonna affect my mental well-being. If I have a nutrition goal, it's gonna affect my exercise and it's gonna affect my mental well-being as well. So they really do feed on each other. So when you're thinking about goal setting, you can think about one of these 3, knowing that it's gonna affect the other 2, or you can try to find a goal in each and every category. And remember, when you set these goals, to be careful not to set expectations too high. And so when you do have a goal and maybe you miss a day or you miss a couple of days, just to be able to let that go. What's that phrase you always use, Rich?
Oh, well.
Exactly. So if you have that day that you missed, 2 days you miss, give yourself that oh well moment and then just get right back on track. So for me, I know that this has been a really fun exercise. I think I'm gonna set some goals for myself of maybe doing 10 minutes every day of deep breathing, which I'm excited about. And I hope that all of you could kind of use this talk to formulate some ideas for your own goal setting. Remember to make them achievable, make them measurable. And if you don't stick with it, just try and get right back to it. Thank you all so much for joining us. Hope to see you again soon.